won with Coach Anderson as his captain. Former director of the CJSA Boys ODP program, he holds an A license from the United States Soccer Federation and a premier diploma from the NSCAA. Brian?
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here to be able to speak to you because one of the things, one of the things I love about the state of Connecticut, and I'm not originally from the state, I'm from the state of New Jersey, is when I got here I could really sense a strong sense of community. First came to my attention because at Southern everybody bailed out of the campus usually on Thursday after classes ended and went home for the weekend. And Kevin's chuckling because he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But that was really kind of the first intro to what the Connecticut psyche was like. I stayed on after, began my master's, started working and coaching, got into the community working in different soccer levels through the ODP program, where Rick Dorella gave me my first opportunity to be a head coach. Working in Fairfield as a director of coaching, and really the feeling in that sense, grew even further. I ended up getting married to a girl from Connecticut. We live in the state, in a really nice, tight-knit community in South Meriden. And it's a wonderful, secure feeling. That said, I think that a lot of that sense of community is what's causing a lot of anxiety about this change, which really kind of radically changes the culture, developmental culture for elite players in the United States. I think we're very close-knit, and your community here is a great example of that. And hopefully, a lot of what we can get across to you this evening is clarification about what is going on, why it's happening, and help you to be a little less, stressed and concerned about making this choice. Because Staples High School soccer has been here and been fantastic for a very long time, and it'll continue to be fantastic for a very long time. I'm very convinced of that. Okay, it's an institution within the state and within this community. We all, I think everybody in the room, would like the United States to be an elite soccer nation. Okay? A nation that wins the World Cup. Okay? A nation where we're winning Olympic gold medals. Okay? A nation where we're producing world-class talent. Okay? Players that go on and play in the top 4 or 5 club teams, in the top 4 or 5 leagues in the world. Okay? But right now, we're not there. Since 1991, okay, when we came back from the first World Cup we qualified for since the 50s, okay, Bob Gansler, the head coach at the time, said, our developmental vehicle has taken us a very long way, okay, but it won't take us much further. Okay. Shortly after that, U.S. Soccer hired Rinus Michels, the FIFA Coach of the Century, who coached Holland to the 1974 World Cup final and won the European Championships in 1988. Brought him on board, and he did a little analysis and assessment and said, your developmental model has to change. Okay? It didn't after either one of those guys spoke. Okay? Finally, I hired in the mid-90s Carlos Queiroz, who's a very probably familiar name to some because he was the coach of the Metro Stars in the early years of Major League Soccer. He's coached Portugal in the World Cup, a number of club teams in Europe. He was brought on to provide us with Project 2010, which was supposed to be the model that would ensure that we'd be able to win a World Cup by 2010. And that hasn't happened. And his analysis said, we need to change. In my lifetime, I've seen 3 very big shifts and big radical changes in the soccer landscape in the United States. One was Pele signing for the New York Cosmos back in the 70s. The second one was Paul Caligiuri scoring against Trinidad and Tobago to get us to the 1990 World Cup. Okay? And the last one was the Development Academy beginning 5 years ago. Okay? There's going to be some things that are going to be said, maybe a little bit uncomfortable, but remember the key piece of the puzzle is we want to be an elite soccer nation. And it would take an immense sense of pride for everybody in here if we were able to accomplish that. okay? I'm not here to represent South Central, okay? And I'm not even here really to represent the Development Academy, okay? I'm here about the game, and I'm here really about what is best for the game and best for the development of elite players. So hopefully we can clarify some of the things that are causing people maybe a little bit of anxiety as we move forward this evening. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brian. Our next Academy representative is Rick Durella. Rick is the owner and general manager of the Oakwood Sports Complex in Glastonbury. He's also the coach of the Oakwood under 15 and 16 Development Academy team, as well as the under 18 girls. He was an all-Ivy selection at Cornell. He's a former Connecticut director of the ODP program. He's a USSF A licensed coach and a member of the Connecticut Soccer Hall of Fame. Rick?
Thank you. I can remember a time in the early 1970s when I grew up playing youth soccer when there were no choices. There was no club soccer in my community. I grew up in Rockland County, just over the Tappan Bridge. And I played middle school soccer and I liked it. And one of my neighbors had just moved from Queens and he played for the German Hungarians. So when I was in 8th grade, my mother allowed me to take a bus from Spring Valley to Port Authority, to take 2 subways to Maspeth, Queens, and a public bus to get to Metropolitan Oval to get a game in. And I had so much fun that I enjoyed it. And by the time I was in 10th grade, I was on the high school team. I remember coming here to Staples High, hopping in a car with a bunch of guys from Nyack, Franz Innocent included, to come and play pickup high school games. So much has changed. However, believe it or not, the debate of club and high school was even in the forefront then, because in my senior year, I moved to Montclair, New Jersey, but I continued to play with the Clarkstown, Rockland County club team. And in those days, the New York City kids were allowed to play club and high school simultaneously, but the suburban kids were not. And one of the high school coaches from Rockland came to our game, and one of the Haitian kids took his shoes and moved them 3 players down. The coach didn't think he played, but he did. And that high school coach turned everybody in, and the last place team in 1974 for the PSAL, or whatever the league was declared the champion, and everybody was ruled ineligible because they played club soccer, and it was against the high school rules at that time. But in New York City, it was okay. It was okay for our competitors. A lot has obviously changed since then. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in Connecticut soccer for over 30 years, and Oakwood was born out of a tennis club and an indoor facility, and Dave Farrell, my partner, and I are kind of lifers in youth soccer, and the changes that have evolved over the 30 years is pretty incredible. We recently finished developing an outdoor soccer park for our club members that cost over $2 million. I would have never thought that would be possible in my lifetime. We try to do the right thing for our players in providing the best possible training environment. It's not about whether they're playing high school or club, it's about the game. And if they want to follow the game and play 10 months, that's their choice. The environment that we provide is 3 to 4 or 5 trainings a week. The players get to play against the top competition. We go on college tours. And it's kind of old news for Oakwood because I have 3 players in the crowd from our 10th grade team. This past fall, the 10th grade team, the U15s, 1996 players, chose not to play high school so that they're ahead of the curve. And they played about 20 games this fall against DC United, Red Bull. They went and played on college campuses, did college visits. And they're in the crowd if you want the real answer of what it's all about, talk to them, because they've already done it. They made the choice. In closing, our club tries to do things that are outside the game. We try to do the best that we can for the players to learn that this is a world's game. We have a 15-year relationship with a group of Argentinians that come every year to visit.